Welcome to Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. In this episode, we'll be listening to Using iPage for Title Discoverability, a session that was presented at Winter Institute 2025 in Denver, Colorado.
All right, so I think we're going to get started. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Nancy Rowland. I'm the Midwest sales rep for Ingram. And this is our session on using iPage for title discoverability. So before I get started, I just wanted to go over a few housekeeping things. So slides and handouts are in the app and the Winter Institute program. Be sure at the end of the session to fill out the survey. Recordings will be available on BookWeb and BookED. If you haven't already, please silence your cell phones. And most importantly, at the bottom regarding questions. So usually in panels, you usually wait until the end to ask questions. But since this is going to be a little more interactive, I want to encourage you as we're going through these things. If any questions come up, go ahead and raise your hand. And then Allison from the ABA in the back in the blue shirt is going to be walking around with a microphone. And we just need you to go ahead and ask your question into the microphone so it can be recorded. So just keep that in mind. And please ask questions as I'm going through this. Really appreciate that. And then we'll have more time at the end for general Q&A. And then the antitrust guidelines from the ABA, just making sure that's up here. And then this is our session description, why you're here. Basically, this session was born from feedback that the ABA got, asking if Ingram could do a session on using iPage to discover more titles. And specifically, it was for Spanish titles. So I just want to go through iPage and go through some of the ways that you can use iPage to find more titles to carry in your store. The first thing I'm going to do is a power search, and I'm not sure. Does anyone here do a power search right now? It doesn't look like it. So it's actually a really useful tool if you go under the Orders tab, and then, or actually under the Search tab, and then you click on Power. It brings up a screen with a bunch of different details that you can enter in. So you can, if you're looking for a specific title, you can put in like the title information. There's a million different fields, but let's say you're looking for a children's book in Spanish. What you can do is in the middle here, there's the age group, and you can specify what level you want to search for. So I'm going to do ages, let's say 10 to 12. And then if you scroll down, you'll see we have a box here for language. And if you start scrolling down through the languages, you see that there are many, many, many languages included here. So it's a great resource. I'm going to go ahead and click on Spanish because that's kind of what we're focusing on right now. And I'm going to go ahead and search. And like most things, you want your search results to be by Ingram demand. So that brings up our most popular titles at the top. But let's say you were looking for newer titles, you could go ahead and click on that and then sort by, let's say, the pub date. So if I click on that, it's going to bring up books that are, all the way out to 2027. Well, you could go through those and find newer titles. But let's say I want to do Ingram demand. So you can see here, these are the top titles at the moment in Spanish for that age group. So I really, really like the power search, and you can do a number of different languages, a number of different criteria. So I really, really like that. One thing to point out if you go to the home page is, and everyone's familiar with what comes up, the bestsellers, and then we also have our little widgets over here on the right-hand side. And so you can see right now we have one for best-selling Spanish titles. So if we go ahead and click on that, what we've done is curated the top 50 books in Spanish at the moment. And again, it's sorted by Ingram demand, so you can see which titles we're selling the most of. And then just pulling out one of them, it's Atomic Habits, but in Spanish, Hábitos Atómicos. And you can see here it's distributed by Two Rivers or Planeta Publishing. So they are an IPS client. So if you click on the titles page, you can see all the inventory. And if you notice over here, under IPS, there's stock in the Jackson warehouse. So if you needed to order that, you could go ahead and add it to your IPS cart. Yeah.
Can you have two carts going at the same time?
Yeah, let me grab a microphone and have you ask that, just so we can get it on the recording. Thanks, Mary Jane.
I'm just wondering if
Yeah.
you could have two orders going at the same time.
You mean one for Ingram Wholesale and one for IPS?
Yes.
Yes, you can. That's a great question. So when I added that to the IPS cart, you can see here the item has been added to it. Now, if I go to my to the IPS tab up here and go to the cart, then you'll notice that I already had titles in there. But you'll also notice that the one that I just added is in there. And then if you were, let's go back to that list in Spanish. Scroll down, click on that. And if it was a book available from Ingram Wholesale, I'd go ahead and click on that. And you can see that is a popular title because we're currently out of stock on it. But if I wanted to back order it, I could go ahead and add it to my wholesale cart. And then I could click on that and see that it's been added. So yes, you can have two carts going at one time. And then when you're ready to place either order, you can either go to the orders tab and go to your quick order cart for wholesale, or the IPS tab and click on your IPS cart. So I would say keep an eye on those widgets. They change frequently. That's our marketing team that's putting that information together, and it's really useful. One other thing I wanted to point out is under the Browse tab, we have something called High Interest Categories. So if I click on that, so our as some of you might know, Ingram has a library services division, and so they work with libraries, mostly public libraries around the country. And a big part of what they do is title curation for libraries. And what they've done is put that information onto ipage for our customers to use. So if you click on that, again, it's Browse and then High Interest Categories. It brings up this list. It's broken out by adult, children's, and teen titles. And you can see there are a number of different genres and interests. There are Spanish language books in each of the categories. And then if you scroll below that, you can also see we also keep a collection of like award winning books and things like that. So that's a great resource to go into and look for new titles that maybe you're not carrying at the moment. Any questions about that? It's pretty self-explanatory. Let's see. Another thing I wanted to encourage everyone to do, if you're not getting the marketing emails from Ingram, you'll want to make sure that you sign up for them. So if you're on your account and you go under My Account, you can scroll down to Ingram Services and click on Marketing Materials. And you can, actually, let me go back to there. Go to My Account. You want to sign up for Ingram email communications. So you can click on that and go ahead and enter in your email address. So if if you don't think you're getting them, you can go ahead and sign up for them. Or if you want to add anybody else from your store to receive them, I would encourage you to do that too. All right. One thing you might be aware of is we have a front list pre-order program, which gives you an additional 2% on new titles when they're ordered 6 weeks in advance. So that's an automatic discount as long as you order them within that time frame, at least 6 weeks in advance. You're going to go ahead and get that 2% discount. So if you were if you wanted to, let's say, look for titles that were coming out, let's say 8 weeks from now, you could go back to that power search and click on the power search. And then we actually have there's a box for publication date search. So if we wanted to look, let's say, 2 months in the future, and look at what's coming out on April 22nd of this year, we could put that in and do search. And then again, your search results are going to be done by Ingram Demand. So that's going to bring up our most popular titles. And you can go ahead and scroll through what's going to be coming out in 2 months. And so any of those books that you order, you would get an additional 2% on. So that's a great program. All right. So that is sort of the meat of the looking at different ways that you can discover new titles on iPage. Are there any questions? Okay, so I was going to go through, do you want to add something?
Just so everybody, will you go ahead and do the search about, I'm Ron from Ingram, by the way. So Allison from the ABA had recently reached out to me. The ABA's been getting a lot of inquiries about, and she showed you the power search, but I was just going to get you to show it, like BIPOC authors or LGBTQ authors. We don't have it we can't do it by authors, but we can do it by subject. And so, I was just going to get Nancy to do that, show you that real quick, because a lot of people have been inquiring actually with the ABA on how to find those particular titles. So if you would just go ahead and show those too.
Yeah, so I think what you're talking about is under the high interest categories again.
Just the general list.
Yeah.
Selection list.
Oh, the selection list?
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to show under the high interest categories, we have like lists under, let's say, Asian interests. So we would click on that. And then it's broken out by like fiction and nonfiction. And we also have graphic novels. So you could click on any of those links. And it must be a big list because it's trying to pull it up.
It's still spinning here.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Let's go back to that. Okay, there we go. So then it brings up our curated list of like the top 200 titles in Asian fiction. And then if you go back to the list, you can see all the different areas that we have broken out. So we have LGBTQ and Latin interest, Middle Eastern, and broken out by age category. So, and it's such a good resource because our library team does a really great job with curation. So it's like you're using their expertise and gaining from their knowledge. Did you have a question?
Can you show where to access the selection?
I think these are the lists. Yeah. 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 So would that be under hot lists? What's that? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure where they're at. Yeah. All right. Well, I was going to move on to some other topics. One of the things I wanted to talk about is this isn't brand new. It's been out for a few months, but I find it incredibly helpful, and I hope everyone's using it. But I have talked to some people recently who don't know about it, and it's a way to report your damages on ipage, and it's a little tucked away, so it's under the Help tab. And if you click on that, sorry, the internet is kind of slow here. Yeah. So if you bring that up, then you can see report a discrepancy, and you can go ahead and click on that. And you can enter in your invoice or order entry number. And then you just enter in the quantity and the product code or the ISBN, and then select the reason why you're reporting this. You can also report shortages or missing shipments or defective items. And then you just put in a brief description of the damage. And once you're ready, you can hit submit on here, and it goes right to customer service. And unlike calling, which can take a while to get through to somebody, or sending an email, which takes a while to get a response, this usually gets resolved within 1 to 3 business days. So it's a super convenient way to report your damages. And I think Mary Jane has a question, and a mic is coming your way.
Okay, so periodically throughout the summer, we get damaged books from Ingram, but I never know how to request shipping because they always want you to ship it back if it's damaged. So we pile them up, and I'm just wondering if there's anything we can do about that, because it's...
Yeah. Usually, are you using this method to report them, or?
Yes.
Okay. In this, I believe that this particular form, was it last fall when it started? So it might be newer than like your peak season last year. But in general, if we get a damage report and it's under $25, then we're going to ask you to donate or destroy that. If it's more than that, we'll ask you to send it back, and we'll send you a call tag. And yeah, and right. Yeah, and doing it this way, you should have that in a couple of business days. Yeah. And I think Ron has a comment to add.
And what we're working on is, instead of even a call tag, is that it would just automatically have a UPS prepaid label for you to just print off and put to send it back.
That is what I get already.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
What's
The
that?
only problem, we get a label, a mailing label or shipping label back. The only problem is sometimes we have 2 books in a shipment that are damaged. And so we'll go through this process for 2 books. So then we get an email with 2 labels, but it's hard to figure out which label goes to which book.
Right. Is it's on the same, because I'm thinking if you reported on like one damage claim, then it should get one call tag.
It seems like maybe it's because they're in 2 different boxes.
Okay.
That could be it.
And they have 2 different
Yeah.
OE numbers. Yeah.
But it seems like, the 2 labels come back and we don't know which one goes to which book.
Right.
But we get them pretty promptly,
Yeah.
the labels.
Yeah, typically, like, they'll have, like, on the, there's, like, a comment or a little, a line on the label, and customer service will put, like, the OE number associated with that particular damage. So, yeah, try and, if you maybe put a sticky note with the OE number, then you can match it up that way. Okay. So another feature that we recently launched is the chat. I'm sure that you've noticed this on your homepage when you log in. You see this little box down on the right-hand side. And what this does, when you click on it, brings up a little chat thing with Ingram customer care. And since your internet is going to be faster than in a basement in a hotel, it will bring up. So I will say it starts out with like an AI chatbot kind of thing, where it's asking you why you're contacting us today. And maybe it's something that we can do automatically through, an automated assistant. But if you go through those steps and it's something that you need to contact or speak to a customer service rep about, then we're going to connect you with a live person. And the benefit of doing this is that the hours are from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Central Time. So that window for speaking to a live person is a lot more than when you call in. And then you also don't have to, there's a question in the back, you don't have to wait on hold or have someone call you back. And the mic is coming your way.
But we can do anything with chat that we generally call customer service for. So if we're canceling a committed title or...
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so I think it's a great resource.
And I'm sorry, even if they're not available at the time, I think it's in somewhere it asks you for your contact information, and they're getting back to people within a couple hours, even if you're using the chat feature.
Yeah, so that kind of brings up another sort of what we call self-service thing that you can do on ipage, and that is managing your back orders on ipage. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up some back orders. I'm not sure if anyone is doing this at the moment. Are people canceling their back orders online? Yeah, sort of. 50-50. All right, I'm gonna bring up an account just so I can go through the steps here. So when you go to orders and then your order status, and then you click on your back ordered items. It is slow. Oh. Yeah. Here, let's get you into the mic.
You're probably going to answer this, but can you cancel future items, backorder items, right? So if you do a front or pre-ordered items, but then decide you don't want them anymore, you can cancel them here.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So let me try again. Order status, back ordered items. Cross my fingers. Here we are. So you can see when it brings up your back ordered items. And just one thing to note, if you have a lot and you don't want to necessarily look title by title, you can click on one of the headers up top that's underlined and it'll go ahead and sort by that criteria. So a lot of times I just sort by product name or the title. If there are a lot of titles that I'm looking through, then I can go ahead and scroll down to the one that I want to cancel. Oops, that's never a good sign. Okay. Anyway, that would sort by the title. But if you wanted to go ahead and cancel one, you could go ahead and click on the box next to it. And then go over to the right and do cancel/edit selections. And then what that does is bring up another box that then you could either cancel if you wanted to outright cancel the back order or change the back order cancel date. You go ahead and click on that. And you can click on the little calendar icon and go ahead and change it to whatever date you want. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and submit to go ahead and make the changes. So that's a great way to manage your back orders so you don't have to reach out to customer service. And we are working on a way that you can cancel committed items in ipage. So hopefully that'll be with a future release. So yeah, stay tuned. We're trying. All right. So another, going back to the homepage. All right. Something that I like to point out to customers, particularly new customers who are maybe who don't have as many new titles back ordered, but really I think this is great for any store just to make sure that they, when it comes to new titles, they have what's coming out in the next couple weeks. So if you scroll down under that hot list section, we keep these 2 lists updated every week, and they're on sale this week and on sale next week. And so if I click on sale next week, this is going to show me everything that's going to go on sale on March 4th. And so I like to say to stores, a week before these books go on sale, go ahead and go through this list and just make sure that, as you can see here, we have 756 products listed. That's a lot of titles to go through. But if you're scrolling through and, even if you do like the top 100, just to make sure you have a lot of the hot releases that are coming out in the next week or so, I think that's a really useful list to have. So go through that once a week, I would say. A program that we've had for several years is the Indie Vault. How many people are familiar with the Indie Vault? Yay! So I'll just go through briefly. Again, you can find it down here under the hot list, and I'll go ahead and click on that. And basically, this is a special reserve of titles that we have for bookstores, titles that are selling quickly, and we want to save some inventory for them. So when you're looking at a title, let me click on the Let Them theory. Yay, there it is. Okay, so when you're looking at the inventory, sometimes you'll notice, in addition to the regular stock in your warehouse, there's also this little vault icon. So if you scroll on that, you can see we have 120 copies set aside for indie bookstores. So, so if we were to run out of inventory in the warehouse, then your orders would basically be pulling from that reserve quantity. And if you ever need to look at the titles, you can go to that list under the hot list, or under my account, we have the Indie Vault as a section. So you can scroll through and see what we currently have available. We're always looking for bookseller suggestions. So if you're noticing customers are coming in and looking for a particular title and you're worried that we're going to run out of it, please feel free to reach out to your sales rep and say, hey, can you put some of this in the Indie Vault? And we're really happy to do that. Any questions about that? Yeah.
I noticed that when we were doing our Onyx Storm reordering, there were when we would single title, it was the single title holds would create back orders, which was something we have never experienced before. That's not how our account was set up. And maybe it was just it was an interesting, I had never seen it that way before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's just something like a special select titles that you're doing that with, or I was misreading what was happening, or
I'm trying to think. Do you remember when you were placing the orders?
within a day or two of it releasing. So they would show up in the warehouse, so it looked as though you could single title hold, but it hadn't released yet.
Okay.
And so we would attempt to single title hold it just to sort of hope within the day or two before we would get some titles.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would back order, and then it wouldn't, maybe it was a little confusing as to when it would ship, and we didn't have a clear understanding of when it would ship.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it was a really, it was a tricky title. And I know that all of the inventory that we had sort of coming in the week or two before it released, it was like everything was spoken for. So I could see that going on back order. And it was just a matter of when the publisher was going to, fulfill our back orders, so then we could go ahead and send it to our customers. So, typically for a title like that, since it was just a street smart title, those, that's a designation for new books that we have from publishers, so we can start sending them to our customers 10 days before they go on sale. So, I think that if it was like, let's say just a regular new title and we had inventory available for that, if you did a single holding order, it would go ahead and confirm the order. And of course, it's going to wait until your next larger order to combine and ship together. Is that confusing?
I think that was a unique situation because when we looked on Ingram, it showed how many were on order and it showed availability, but they hadn't come out yet. But we did get an email from Ingram saying, as of, I think it was December 5th, there are no more copies, even though it looks like there are some.
Oh, for the special edition.
For the special edition.
Yeah.
And then I think some people got confused because the regular edition was still available.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, this was for the regular edition. This was not the special edition. This was for the regular edition.
Yeah, and I know that even for the regular edition, like we were like receiving back orders, up till basically past the pub date, so we were behind in fulfilling the initial orders. Yeah.
Which is there a way that we can see how many back orders are against titles that are on order? So if there's a title that's coming and we're hoping to get it, but if we back order them, we don't know whether we're going to, often the dates that are there as to when it's going to come back in stock may not be for all of the number I've been told of the things that are on order. So it's sort of a rolling.
Yeah. So you're wondering how many back orders we have against something?
Right, exactly. Like what's our chance of getting something in a timely fashion?
Yeah. Like for 95% of books, it's going to be fine. It's really these super hot titles that we might have oversold on. So I would say if you ever have, if it's a special situation and you're really concerned about it, reach out to your rep and we're able to look internally.
Hey, Nancy.
Hey, Elise.
Great job. I wanted to just remind everybody about the Indie Vault for IPS titles too. So if you look up something like Small Things Like These, you'll see there's only 79,000 in the warehouse, but there's special ones for you too. So that's just something in case you were wondering if we have vaulted titles for IPS. They're right there.
Yeah, and they're all like included in the same list, and of course they will have the. So if I go back to the Indie Vault and scroll down. Then if it's an IPS title, then it will have the IPS designation on it. Yeah. Any other questions at the moment? Anything in general? Anything that you're, any suggestions or things that we could do to improve ipage? It's perfect, is what I'm hearing. So another thing I'll point out is our gifting games and sidelines. So there are a couple different ways to access what we have. We'll always have this little widget on iPage that you can go ahead and click on. And as I did that, I realized it's going to bring up a very large list. So anyway, imagine a long list of... There it is. Okay. So we have a link here to 43,000 different items that we are currently carrying in our gifting games. And then we always, we regularly update what we call the swim lanes. And these are, we always have a section for new items. So that's something to look, something good to look at frequently just to see what new items we're carrying. And then we'll also have some theme things, like we'll have Father's Day, Mother's Day, different holidays, things like that. And then you can go ahead and, if you wanted to click on the entire list, you could click on that. And then since it's 43,000 items, if you wanted to pare them down, you could, on the left-hand side, you can see that you can refine your search results. So if you were just looking for, let's look at BISAC categories. For example. So if you just wanted to do like games and activities, you can go ahead and click on that and go ahead and update. And then it would have our most popular items at the top. So you can find it always on the homepage. You can find a link to the gifting games. Or if you go under browse, we also have it under gifting games. So yeah, and then one last thing I wanted to bring up is our book love program. So if you haven't signed up already for that, you can go under My Account and click on the Book Love Rewards program here. And then that will bring up a link that you can use to sign up if you're not already signed up. But if you were in the program last year, we automatically enroll you for this year. So you really don't have to worry about that. But as we move through the year and you want to look at your progress to see how you're doing toward your goal, you could go to that link under Ingram Services, and it'll give you like what your goal is, what your sales for the year so far, so you can keep track of how you're doing sales-wise.
Is IPS
included with that? Oh, wait, I'm going to have you ask.
Are IPS titles included in the Book Love program?
Yes, they are. Yeah. Thanks, Mary Jane. So what we do is we take your Ingram wholesale and your IPS direct sales, and we combine them to create that creates your goal for the year. So, yes.
I wanted to also call it on the page. So it is a good, what this created a few years ago as a way to give everybody incentive to place orders through wholesale and IPS. It is a combined goal, as Nancy mentioned. So every dollar that you spend with us, if you hit your goal in January, you'll have a 0.5-point rebate on everything that you bought from us the prior year. Now we also have started some even additional rewards. If you notice the box there, it says double dollar days. Our market, and Nancy mentioned earlier about signing up for marketing e-coms. So another reason you'll want to get some of those marketing e-coms is you might get an email that says, hey, here's a list of titles that for the next, I'm making this up, but for the next 30 days, if anything you buy of these titles, you'll earn double points toward your book love goal. So make sure you keep aware of the double dollar days things. And then we also have some other ideas of how we can continue to give you escalated rewards that we're working internally, so pay attention for that too. But I did just want to make sure I called out the double dollar day little icon. But if you get in that marketing e-coms, you'll get an e-com from us that says, hey, here's some titles that you'll earn double dollars on during this time frame.
Sorry.
Oh,
I
Lauren.
have a question about how, if we were in the program last year,
Mhm.
I guess what's our new goal this year? Is it calculated based on how we did against our goal last year, or is it the same number, or how's that work?
I assigned all the goals, and they're all done, but they were supposed to be posted already so you could see them. But it's basically the amount of business that you did with us last year rolled up to the nearest 1,000. Yep. You still had a question too?
This is unrelated. Could you show us how to do co-op reports for other publishers?
Yeah. So, great question. So if you are on iPage and you go under the Reports tab, you should see this under co-op reports, Ingram Content Co-op Reports. If you don't see that on your account, that means that you're not enrolled in the program. That's not a problem. You just need to reach out to your rep and say, hey, can you have my co-op report for 2024 run? And we're happy to do that. And once we have it created, it usually takes around 2 to 3 business days. You can click on that link, and then you can just scroll down, and you will have it. Typically, it's kept under the annual reports, but if you have your report run as a one-off, if you had that request, it would go under something called special reports, and it would be labeled like this month. So if it was done in February, it would be labeled to 2025. But that's going to have your full year sales for 2024. And then basically you can click on that CSV file. It brings up like this big, Excel file with all of your Ingram sales, wholesale sales for the last year. And then you can parse out which publisher sales you need to send them to. So that's all I had today, but I would love to answer more questions. And we have our IPS team in the room too. So anything that's on your mind.
I think you guys have done a lot to make iPage really intuitive and a lot more helpful. And I'm not sure you ever hear us say thanks. So thank you guys for doing that.
We appreciate
I'm sure
that.
we all have lots of things to whine about, but this iPage actually has been, the discrepancy reports are amazing. It's just, everything is so much easier than waiting on hours for customer service. So thank you guys for your hard work. And huge kudos to being able to cancel committed items. That's a big deal for us. So thank you.
Yeah. I'm hoping that'll roll out in a few months.
Can you go back
Yeah.
on the book club page?
Uh-huh.
The other thing that was mentioned on there, and to your point, is we also, if you've never attended one of our iPage academies, anybody ever done it? Once a month. It's once a month right now still, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Peter. You sign up for iPage Academy, and so there might be some to talk about general topics about iPage, but to your point, we're all the time fine tuning and upgrading and all. So they'll talk about those too when they do the iPage Academy, about some new way to do something in there. So I was just going to call out. It was mentioned on there about iPage Academy. So.
They record all the academy
session.
Yeah, and just in general, like if you're, if you have some extra time, like everyone has extra free time, if you click under the Help tab, which is where I brought you to find the discrepancy form, if you click on that, and when it comes up, it actually has a plethora of knowledge there. It's not something that, you're necessarily going to gravitate toward on a daily basis as you're just, looking up titles and helping customers and things like that. But if you have new booksellers, if there are things that maybe you want a refresher on, a lot of times I, direct people to the FAQs, which breaks down a lot of different topics in terms of ordering and returns and things like that. We have our user guide. We have our quick tips, which is our educational hub, which is really great. And we have these like how-to videos, which is great, especially for new booksellers. So yeah, if you have some time, just go to the Help tab, poke around a little bit. Maybe you'll learn something new. Maybe you can, help some of your newer booksellers. I just think it's a really great resource, but it's kind of tucked away a little bit, so you have to do a little digging to find it. So, any other questions? We have about 10 more minutes. Do you have anything to add, Ron? No? Okay, then I guess I'll dismiss class early today. So I just want to thank you all for joining us. I know it's the tail end of the show and everyone's a little tired, but we really appreciate you coming here. And of course, we appreciate your support. So thank you. I hope everyone's had a great show, and take care.
Thank you for listening to Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app. Additional educational resources can always be found on the ABA site at www.bookweb.org. Happy reading!